Last recording, I converted some distance in kilometers to miles. And if I remember correctly, the miles I came up with is 120 miles. However, if it truly was 120 miles, I should have converted from about 200 kilometers, because about 100 kilometers is 60 miles. But remember that that measurement in kilometers, or that figure that the main character quoted for how far he had to travel to get to his camp, was more like 300 or 600 kilometers. So I have this sinking feeling that I may have done some simple math incorrectly, which would be very much like me to do. But I'm not going to go back and check because this is a mystery game, and part of the rules are you don't go and check footage that you've, I don't know, previously recorded. Um, because that can give you reminders that the writer did not intend for you to get. Anyway, time to start again. Now, I did check. So last time I started this, I said that if you were to play the original files with the English patch, that the sound doesn't play. Well, I went back to check something, and it is true that the background music doesn't play, but the sound effects do. So when the bell rolls out of the girl's hand, the dead girl that is, you still hear the ding. And when the main character gets up in his bed, you still get that getting up from the bed sound effect. So it's not a complete audio break, it's just the music break. What I went back to check was whether or not the yes, load. What I went to check was whether or not this information you get here on the upper right corner when you press the escape key or right click was a cheat made available to you by whoever ported this game to Love 2D. And it turns out it is. If you go to the save menu in the original files, you don't get this like chapter title, this route title, or how long you've played or what the background music is. The route title, I call that a cheat because, well, it makes it a lot easier for you, basically. Because you'll know which decisions cause a change in route. And it'll tell you how many possible endings there are by basically how many possible routes you have. It's another tool for you to help you do your process of elimination. So it's a cheat, but because I started this without knowing if there'd be a cheat in it, the Love 2D port, I'll just continue to use the Love 2D port and not just suddenly switch ports one part into recording. But I am not happy about that because I don't like those aids. I am not a fan of them at all. I only want to be able to use the aids that Kutaro Uchikoshi specified that the player would have, and not aids that fans put into the game when porting. Anyway, resume. I guess it loads from here. Seems like it went back a few lines. Good morning! The Yuka who enters the living room looks like... Yeah, I already went through this part, so I'm going to have to click through some dialogue. Up. This was not a repeat of dialogue. I made a mistake. Okay, I gotta read it. Okay, good morning. The Yuka who enters the living room looks like a completely different person than from before. So, Yuka is, I guess you'd call her the main girl, and we had a nightmare at the opening of the game that I presume was of her death, because you would presume that the predicted death would be of the girl who's on most prominently presented on the game cover. That doesn't necessarily have to be true, but that's what I would guess if I were to take a first guess. And at the same time, she had a nightmare that she can't remember the details of, but it gave her a feeling of hopelessness, which is somewhat of a strong and overarching term for probably what the game is implying that she dreamed, and that was that inevitably she was going to die on Saturday. Aside from that, they're just trying to make her, just kind of basic, essentially. Her fixed up hair is now lightly bouncing, and she has changed out of her clothes into a neat pink dress. But the biggest change is her face. She looks like an excited kid about to leave for a field trip. For a second, our eyes meet. Remembering what happened this morning, I spontaneously break out in a smile. Still feeling a little embarrassed, Yuka breaks eye contact while playing with her hair. Good morning. Hey there. So, Okuhiko is the stereotypical stuck-up rich person that you may encounter in some of these Japanese visual novels. That for some reason, the main and side characters make a big deal out of that character's affluence to an unrealistic extent. Okuhiko returns her greeting as well. Haruka, needless to say, doesn't reply at all. So, Haruka is a strong character archetype that is designed either to be a hard shell for dating sim purposes, or is presented to be sufficiently shy that she just she says dismissive things in order to get you off her back, and it sort of sounds like she's just going about the meaningless day-to-day tasks of life, being worn out and tired and bored of everything that life has had to offer, finding what the teacher found but very young in life, that everything is vanity, and just kind of slogs through day to day in anticipation of her inevitable damnation. Kind of a relatable personality. Anyway, instead she is now sitting quietly in a dining chair in front of the kitchen after having cleaned up the ashtray. Have any of you had breakfast yet? Yuka says this while returning her head to survey the three of us. No, not yet. I see, well then I guess I'll make some. What? What, is there something wrong? Okay, Yuka, can you cook? That's not it. Do we have ingredients? I would most likely give the second response. The reason being is everybody can cook. I don't know what the cultural differences are, but pretty much anybody I know of, given the proper utensils and ingredients, can follow a recipe that they found using Google and reproduce it about 80% as good as it possibly can be reproduced. Now, I was watching Steve Burke's Dell pre-built review, Steve Burke from Gamers Nexus, and he was giving this rant where he's saying you don't necessarily have to do everything yourself, in a way to convince his audience that what his review wasn't about DIY elitism in the PC business. And then he went on to say, I mean, for example, I don't cook my own food, I pay some people that are better at it than me to do it for me. Have it be known, I cook my own food. Okay, I have to type here. Okay. Just writing down what choices I'm making. Excuse me. And I'll save my text in as choices.txt. Thank you for putting up with the delay. Oh, that's not a problem. The previous group left a bunch behind. I see. I think it'll probably take about 15 minutes. Toast's okay, right? It does not take 15 minutes to make toast. Okuhiko gives her a quick nod as if to say, I'll leave it to you. I follow suit. What about you, Haruka? Are you okay with toast as well? Haruka gives her a slight nod, not taking her gaze off the table surface. Well then, I'll be done soon. So wait a bit. Yuka begins to go into the kitchen. And at that moment... Oh, that's right. Some kind of monster. I remember something, and instantly try to draw Yuka's attention. What is it? There's something I'd like to ask you. Do you smoke? Oh. There's no way I'd do something like smoking. If you look at my perfect skin, it's obvious. Yuka comically places her hands to her cheeks, muttering to herself in agreement as she enters the kitchen. If she didn't do it, then just who was it that smoked? And there's an implication that there's there's an implied character here, a character we haven't met yet. Although I've seen the first day of this gameplay, I do actually still haven't seen far enough into this game to know who this character is. And there is some suggestion so far in the dialogue that Haruka might know who this character is and is just not saying. But we'll see what happens. Yuka, Haruka, Okuhiko. Which one of those three is lying? Okay, so I guess the game is trying to close off that possibility. Like they're saying, yeah, there is. Yeah, there. I guess, player, you could think that there is a fourth character. But I'm just going to give it away to you intentionally that one of those three smokes. We're just gonna close that off, okay? Okay, player? I mean, unless they do a twist and they make it a fourth person. I don't know what he's doing here. I moan in frustration. Even though Yuka has said it would only take her about 15 minutes, it's been almost an hour. Just, what the hell is Luca cooking in there anyway? It's now almost 11, so it's too late to even call it brunch. While waiting, the three of us decide to wash our faces and change our clothes. Currently, we are watching the TV that's sitting in the corner of the room. At least the art's accurate. There's a health show on called A Healthy Utopia, because whoever's writing this wasn't very creative. Judging from its subtitle, Good Green Vegetables to Eat, it's basically a cooking show. Again, whoever's writing this was not very creative. Of course, none of us want to watch this. Of course, it's just a filler dialogue, so of course it's going to be filler. Unfortunately, this island only has 2 channels, both of which are local broadcasting. The other channel happens to be featuring a short documentary on natural streams all over the country. Though both of the shows are boring, I think the one about streams might have been a better candidate for distracting us from our hunger. My stomach is rumbling. I don't think I can last much longer. Sorry to keep you waiting. Finally, Yuka peeks her head out of the kitchen. I've already set the food on the table, let's eat. At these words, Haruka immediately stands up. I'm kind of surprised. I find it odd that the usually indifferent Haruka is this determined about eating breakfast. I guess she must be practically starving. Again, they're just dropping more hints about some sort of Haruka tragic past. Upon arriving at the table, our eyes widen. Like she has some sort of... her past has made it such that Every time there's an opportunity to eat food, she jumps immediately. Um, like a lion. Our wondrous vision of food rivaling a 4-star restaurant in southern France is gloriously shattered into pieces. There's a mysterious object that I'd never seen before in my life heaped up into a pile at the center of the table. Next to that are 4 plates with toast. That thing is toast, right? Placed on them. And if it had come from outer space, this mystery object had as a complicated and mysterious pattern of spots and is shaped like some kind of vicious jelly mold. Is that an American joke? Whatever. As for Yuka's toast, it's a solid black mass. It might as well be called charcoal. Well then, go ahead and eat it. Yuka urges us on with a large, proud smile. At the same time, she takes the mysterious object, places it on the charcoal, and smacks her lips. We watch her dumbstruck. Before long, huh? Guys, what's wrong? Yuka tilts her head. Sorry, my stomach's not feeling so good. Wow, that's cheap, Okuhiko. I'm not hungry. Haruka, not you too. What? But I just finished it and everything. I remade it countless times, you know. I don't think the quality of food has anything to do with how many times you remake it. Furthermore, if it's true that this is the result of all my time and effort for the last hour, including the countless times I remade it, then I just can't understand. If that's the case, then just what kind of thing was her initial result? Just trying to imagine it makes my hair stand on end. Well, I mean, raw bread is better than charcoal. Suddenly, as if she's reading my mind, Yuka says this. Makoto, you're hungry, right? She makes it sound as if I'm completely obliged to eat this. Well, the truth is that he is indeed hungry, right? So let's just tell the truth. Yeah, I hopelessly nod. In the end, let's just say that Yuka's food drove me to hell and back. There's a lot of hell in this game. I never did figure out what the recipe for the mysterious object was. In all honesty, I'm too terrified to ask. Just corn and jelly, right? Yuka and I ate all of the mysterious object, along with 2 pieces each of the charcoal, including Haruka and Okuhiko's share. Right now, Yuka is happily humming while washing the dishes. I think it's more of the fact that she can now say that someone actually ate her cooking, rather than being full that's the cause of her happiness. In short, I became the sole sacrifice for that purpose. Wow, NVIDIA Broadcast completely filtered out what I just did there. Let me try that again. It's better. I feel sick. I can feel my chest and throat filling up with nausea. I would rush to the bathroom as fast as I could, but if I threw up, I'd have to look at the monstrosity that nobody should ever have to suffer through seeing twice. I have to endure it. I have to wait until my stomach calms down. I swear that I'll never let Yuka cook ever again. I repeat this vow to myself 21 times, which is probably a reference to something that I don't get. Just then, the doorbell rings from the front door. Huh? Our group has 4 members. Nobody else was scheduled to come here except for us, right? As I squat down on the floor, I survey the surrounding area restlessly. Haruka is brushing her teeth in front of the sink. Where's Okuhiko? Hey, Ishihara! Get the door! Our hands are full right now. I hear his voice coming from the kitchen. It seems like Okuhiko is helping Yuka with the cleanup. Come on, Makoto, hurry up and answer it. Man, I don't want to cover the floor and vomit. Like an old man, I slowly wobble to my feet and stand up. I take little steps to the front door while hunching over just like one too. Okay, I'm on it. I massage my stomach with my left hand while opening the door with my right. Thank you very much for your continued patronage. Huh? Standing in the doorway is an innocent-looking girl. Judging for her appearance, I say she's probably a middle school student. Riding on the top of her right palm is a square silver-colored bag. Here's the seafood pizza you ordered. Seafood pizza? I never ordered anything like that. What? A disturbed expression clouds her face as she searches through her pocket with her free hand until she pulls out a scrap of paper. But the receipt definitely says you ordered a seafood pizza, didn't you? Suddenly she stops speaking formally, making her feel like a little kid on an errand. No, that's not what I mean. You see, I didn't order anything. But... She checks the receipt again. This is definitely the right address. As she says this, she shows me the receipt. However, there's no way I would have memorized the lodge's address. Then wait a second. After telling her this, I turn around towards the kitchen. Hey Yuka, did you order a pizza? Why would I do that? What about you, Okuhiko? With his back turned to me, Okuhiko lightly waves his palm indicating a no. All that's left is Haruka. Hey Haruka! I shout inside towards the sink. Haruka, who is still brushing her teeth, shakes her head. Didn't think so. Well then, do any of you know this address? It should be written on the nameplate, shouldn't it? Nameplate? Yeah, it should be attached besides the front door. I see, the nameplate, huh? I mutter this and turn around again. I stick my head out the door and check beside it. She was right, there was a wooden nameplate there. Could you show me that receipt again? Won't the pizza get cold? As she says this, she hands over the receipt. I take it from her and compare it to the nameplate. The nameplate says District 3, House 8, Number 1. Written on the receipt is 381. Huh? I take a closer look at them. District 3, House 8, Number 1, and 381. My intelligence is failing me right now. I should be able to decipher this, and I can't. I'll just let it ride, I guess. What's this? I don't think this is a 1, but a 7, right? What? She immediately snatches the receipt from my hands. 3, 8, and 7? Then this isn't the Asakura house. I unintentionally laugh. Of course, why didn't I check that first? Had I just asked for the receiver's name, I could have cleared up this misunderstanding immediately. Geez, I'm such a blockhead. Sorry, there isn't anyone here named Asak. Hold it right there! The abrupt shout surprises the girl. What is it, Okuhiko? Okuhiko walked over without me noticing it and is currently standing next to me. Thank you for all your trouble. Huh? I'm Okuhiko Asakura. What the hell are you saying? You're not the Okuhiro instantly shuts me up with a dirty glare. Right, I'm the Ida Lumber Store's part-time clerk, Okuhiko Asakura. The girl watches our little exchange with curiosity. Hello? And mutters this, a little overwhelmed. So, where's the pizza? Right. Suddenly flustered, the girl pulls a thin box out of the silver bag. Here's your order. Okuhiko reverently accepts the box before asking her. How much is it? 1,200 yen. Okuhiko takes some money out of his pocket and gives it to the girl. After she takes it, thank you very much. She gives a deep bow before energetically running off. Okuhiko gives a smug smile as he sees off the girl's retreating figure. And this generates an implied character who's staying at house number, well, forgot all the denotations, staying at number 7, and should have received their pizza, but didn't. I know because I've seen the first day of this game that character is indeed introduced. I see, so that's how it is. I'm finally beginning to understand Okuhiko's ulterior motive for coming here. Hold on. Just what's going on here? Well, I can't blame Yuka for getting sulky. The slightly cold seafood pizza has been placed on top of the glass table in front of the sofa. Okohiko-kan, wasn't your stomach not feeling good? Yeah, but somehow... Before I knew it, it looks like it got better. As he says this, Okuhiko reaches out for another slice of pizza. Haruka, didn't you say that you weren't hungry earlier? Yes. Earlier. She monotonically declares this with an unwavering expression. She nibbles at a slice of pizza with her small mouth. What do you mean, earlier? Okay, in order to make this decision, I have to go back to, like, the burnt toast. And what would I personally have done if I was served corn in a jelly mold and burnt toast? And that would be, I would not mess around. I would say, this toast is burnt, and I don't even know what this is. Doesn't matter how cute the girl is. If the toast is burnt, you say the toast is burnt. You tell it like it is. You don't sugarcoat it, right? So in this I wouldn't ever get to this point, right? If I were to back up Haruka, I wouldn't say, her stomach really was sick. I would just say, well, she couldn't eat your burnt toast. So, although I would maybe back up Haruka is the slightly more accurate choice, I wouldn't say the dialogue that inevitably the main character is going to say if I make that choice. She means she's hungry now, but wasn't early. Haruka gives a small nod in agreement. Geez. Defeated, Yuka sullenly drops down into the sofa. I find that you can't really stay mad at Haruka, who is calmly yet intently eating her food. Which is like, non-intently eating your food? There's a way to accidentally eat food. She's just like any other honest, simple girl, at least that's how I see it. My frustration dies down as I observe the placid girl. Before I know it, all the signs of irritation are washed away. Yes, except that you didn't really steal, but you, carped someone else's pizza. By the way, what would I do in that situation? I would literally tell the delivery girl, this man is very hungry right now and is trying to claim he's the one who ordered this pizza even though he didn't. I would just jump in and just punch it. I would not have a delayed reaction whatsoever. Honesty is the best policy. And ratting people out and being a snitch is the best policy. I don't know why snitch has a negative connotation. Today is Monday, April 1st. This is the afternoon news. We hear a polite voice from the announcer on TV, which is still on. At that moment, a bird chirps. The rather sharp and shrill noise fills my ears. I try to find out where it is coming from. I find it in the upper right corner of the giant glass window overlooking the ocean. Now, I don't know if a bird chirp is a cinematic trope or cinematic sign. I know if you hear a train signal in the background during a movie, that's an indication that something extremely tragic is about to happen. Not sure about bird chirps, though. But a cuckoo clock. This is the first time I've seen one. Okay, so that's what the clock in the artwork is supposed to represent, I suppose. My voice is full of awe. Huh? You just noticed it? Yeah, just now. At 10, I was changing my clothes in my room, and at 11, I was caught up with that repulsive meal, so I missed the sound of the clock both times. I was also surprised when I first noticed it yesterday. I look around and find that nobody else is surprised by this. Oh, right, Yuka, Haruka, and Okuhiko arrived before me yesterday and they've already heard it. It's kind of nostalgic. So if they spend this many lines describing this cuckoo clock, that means this cuckoo clock is going to be a very important piece of a puzzle to solving a mystery later in the game. Like it's going to go off at a certain time, and that's going to tell us that, like, someone's going to give a testimony where they're going to say the clock chimed, and that's going to tell us that that testimony that they, in order for that to make sense, that what they were testifying to happening had to have taken place at the top of an hour. Right.
今でも覚えてるけど、
If my memory serves me right, the last time I saw one of those things was in middle school. Oh. It was a little bigger than this one, and it had two doors on it, not one. Of course, there were two birds. I'm pretty sure I thought they were a male and a female pair of doves. Wow, game. I get it. Okay. That's like. Anyway, aren't you going to continue? No, no, that's all there is to it. That's all there is. Something doesn't feel right. I feel that at the tip of that conversation, there's an even greater story behind it that's now been washed away. It's obvious just by looking at her. Just now, there is a faint glitter in her eyes. Hey, shouldn't we go now? As he rises, Okuhiko flicks his long bangs away from his face. Yeah, you're right. It'll be a big waste of time if we stayed indoors all day. Where are we going? Isn't it obvious? To play tennis. Tennis? No, then everyone, please get ready. Well, that was unexpected. It's not that tennis itself is a problem. It's that Yuka and Okuhiko just said, let's play tennis like it was nothing, and there seems to be no issue with it. Just, what is... I was supposed to pick up on something there, and I didn't. Just what is this seminar camp, anyway? Okay, so now they're playing the whole thing like a bunch of people colluded together, and the main character doesn't know it. Anyway, I asked Yuka this on our way to the tennis court since she's our leader. What do you mean? I mean, so aside from the traditional meanings of seminar, there's also other things implemented in it like clubs and social activities? Yuka nods in affirmation. Even so, is it alright for us to suddenly start playing tennis from the get-go? It's alright, there's obviously no problems with it. Hey Yuka, may I ask you what's really been bugging me? Go ahead. In the first place, just what is a seminar camp? Just what is it, you say? Obviously it's camping in a seminar. I would ask for clarification, personally. Camping in a seminar, yeah, it makes sense. But what does it mean by seminar, exactly? What? Are you kidding, Makoto? No, I'm being totally serious. I rarely went to my classes, and I'm completely clueless about things like this. I'm surprised. I didn't think that there were students in our college by this time who didn't know what the meaning of the seminar, but... Well, it can't be helped. I'll tell you about it. Okay, so... I've watched enough junk to know that it can't be helped is a phrase that comes up a lot when you're translating Japanese to English. Um, I guess if you were like an English speaker would say, well, there's nothing I can do about it now. which I'll admit is a lot more syllables than just it can't be helped. I'd appreciate it.
あのね、本来
Okay, so now
で
how...
は4年生になる
So you know how that originally very liberal colleges
そこに
offered a seminar program in which senior year students could join and research a topic of their choice, right? Independent studies is something you can take in any and all colleges. And I wonder what the meaning of liberal is in the context of Japanese education. Um, Typically, liberal means kind of loose, reckless, and open to change, particularly severe and rapid change. And deviation in thought from the previous status quo. That's kind of the definition of liberal. I don't know how that relates at all to having a seminar program. I guess it was supposed to be a radically different thing than the traditional way of going about education. I presume we're just spitballing. I don't know what's actually going on here. Yeah.
だからゼミっていうのは
So basically, if you think of the seminar as a lab, I don't think they'd mind. But that doesn't clear up anything, because what is it a lab of? What are you researching exactly? Interesting. Like, what is the independent study? What am I studying? Murder? Video games? Anime?
でねゼミの
Right, and at the end of the year, they had to publish the research results of the seminar in a so-called bachelor's thesis. Oh yes.
その卒論が
If that bachelor's thesis was approved by various distinguished teachers, that students would be all clear to graduate.
ことができるの
If that happens in Germany too, doesn't it? Like, I don't actually know. I just found a bachelor's thesis from Germany while trying to look something up a few months ago.
最近では大学や
However, it doesn't seem like many colleges or undergraduate programs have a place for such things anymore. But our college is still keeping that system alive.
続けてて
Wait a minute, but we're only just about to become juniors, right? Right, technically, we're actually members of a pre-seminar. Pre-seminar? Think of it as a sort of prep course for the real seminar that starts next year, a sort of prerequisite, if you will. So how exactly does this teach me how to do my independent study?
分かった
Get it now? No. More or less. Mostly less. Good. You'll be fine then. Honestly, I don't fully understand it either. But there's one thing I still don't get. Basically, it's just plot convenience. They just had to invent a setting for the story to take place.
何が
What's that? The goal of this camp. I take a look over my shoulder. Okuhiko is behind me and Yuka walking right next to Haruka. Okuhiko is trying to start a conversation with Haruka, which doesn't seem to be working. Then I quickly turn my head back. It's as if I can hear him quietly grumble to himself. So we're just not going to get an answer to the question? They're just going to leave it hanging? It's like, the purpose of this camp is to set up a murder? Or is it the purpose of this camp to teach Makoto how to use his premonitions to stop murders? Anyway, Okuhiko thinks from the start there was no goal. If there truly is one, then it's only to deepen the bonds of friendship between the group members. Is he right? Close, that's close, but it's a little different from that. How so?
それはまだ
I still can't tell you that. Huh?
だって命令なんだもん
Well, I was ordered not to. Ordered?
教授直々のお達しなの
They're direct, unofficial orders from the professor in charge. Until the last day of camp, don't tell anybody the purpose behind it. Which basically means up until the last day of camp, you can't do anything. Why?
もうそんなに
Gee, stop being so persistent. But I'm wasting a week of my life doing this.
優香先生の
The first law of Professor Yuka's love formula.
しつこい男は
Dislike persistent men.
よく覚えときなさい
Please remember that. That doesn't make any sense. Yuka gives me a kind smile. That smile makes my heart pound loudly. I can feel my ears burn hot. This is not how this works in the real world, by the way. When I realize what that means, I try not to act anxious. Dislike persistent men. Dislike who? Flustered, I feel the wind playfully brush against my cheeks. It takes us 5 minutes to walk from the lodge to the tennis court. Alright then, let's play. Yuka has rented 4 rackets from the court's manager and forced them into our hands. It's almost blinding how much... Oh, I have to look at the backlog now. It's almost blinding how much joy her eyes are radiating. Just then... I'll pass. She places the racket she had just received gently against the bench. What? Haruka-chan, you're not playing? He is much more disturbed by this than Yuka. Ooh, wah! Now, that I think about it, Okuhiko seems to be extremely eager to play tennis. I bet that because he was brought up as practically nobility, he probably had private lessons on how to play tennis since he was a kid. Random fact. I've taken lessons on how to play tennis when I was a kid. Why? Because my dad played tennis all throughout high school. And so kind of know how it is. If you play a certain sport, you want to make your kids do something active. And so you pick something for him, and because tennis was the thing he knew, he decided to force his kids to take tennis lessons. Now, I am no good at tennis, but at least I can kind of play it. Not that I will ever use that ever again in my life, unless, I don't know, some random opportunity arises, but I don't have any plans to ever play tennis ever in my life. Yes? But won't you get bored just watching us? I'm not going to watch. I just flip the voice pitches. Huh? I'm still flipping them. Huh? Because I want to see the ocean. The ocean? You want to go to the ocean? Haruka gives a small nod. The ocean, huh? Is this my way in? Then I'm going too. Huh? You too, Okuhiko-kun? Come on, think about it. We're finally by the ocean, aren't we? It's only natural that we ought to see it first. And besides, we can play tennis whenever we like, right? I see. Well, that's too bad, but I guess it can't be helped. There's a victorious glint in Okuhiko's eyes. His mouth also warps into another smug smile. Well, be right here. What, we? We? So by we, Yuka means me and her. Okay. I guess I'd try the tennis. I wonder if this does a route flip, though. I don't like cheats, but now since I'm doing this port anyway, I'm just gonna go for... Just gonna say play tennis with Yuka and see if it causes a route flip. Nope, it doesn't. Okay. Typing. It's not like I hate tennis. Besides, I could use a little exercise. The chilly, fresh morning air almost makes my bones ache. Well, see you later. Okuhiko starts walking away. Haruka already left long before him. Though she had left with a rather stony expression, I bet Haruka was thrilled to leave. Get back before evening, okay? Yuka shouts to said Okuhiko. Without turning around, he casually waves in acknowledgement. He's trying way too hard to act cool, but that's Okuhiko for you. Well then, I'm going to go change my clothes. Change into what? Tennis wear! After all, I can't exactly play tennis that well in these clothes, can I? To emphasize her point, Yuka pinches the collar of her clothes. I guess so. Mind waiting a minute, Makoto? I'll be back soon. If I were doing this, I would just wear whatever clothes I was going to play tennis in from the start. It's not a very positive character trait when you're always changing clothes needlessly. Yuka rushes over to the changing room next to the court management office.
よーし行くわよ
Alright, here we go. Then Yuka returns from changing her clothes. She stands on the opposite side of the net wearing a daring grin. I don't need to read that.
この日のために密かに開発された
I have been secretly developing this serve for this day.
稲妻ゴロゴロアレクサンダー
Lightning Rumble Alexander Thunder Serve. Because, again, I'm not very creative with my writing. Stop boasting and serve already. Yuka throws the ball high in the air a few times. She bends back as far as she can. Just what kind of serve is...
お願いだからおへそは取らないで
Do I have to read this? No, I don't.
ゴロゴロピカッと
Not even a second has passed. The ball creates a graceful arc in the air before slamming down into the court as fast as lightning. Are you serious? I break into a sweat.
これで15ね
With this, it's 15 love, but for some reason it says... Wait. I don't know what this means. 15-all is probably making up something. It's like, does Uchikoshi know how to play tennis? Huh? You play at 21. Anyway, where's all the energy you had just now, I wonder? Huh. You're not half bad.
笑顔がす
Careful, your smile's slipping. Don't be ridiculous, I was just caught a little unprepared, that's all. No, seriously, I really was. That wasn't Yuka's first hit. Her prior serve was a double fault, so this is her third one. Her first two hits went all the way over the fence behind me and disappeared into the forest. Of course, I was caught unprepared. Her first two serves were terrible. It's clear now that I've got to stop taking her lightly.
いいのか
Because her serves are terrible?
強がっちゃって
What's wrong, out of bluffs? When you serve in tennis, it's required that you hit the opposite inside corner. So if you're standing on one side, you need to stand on one side of the court behind the line, the back line that is, and then the ball has to go into like the front box, the box closer to the net, sectioned on the opposite side of the serve. You have to serve diagonal. If you don't hit in there, then the point doesn't start. You get two chances at serving. If you miss the second serve, then the other player just gets the point. I can't imagine, though, a serve, if it follows a legal trajectory, to actually go over the fence, because almost always when a ball's gone over the fence, it's never bounced first. The fences are usually so high that if it has a bounce trajectory, it's too low a trajectory to actually go over the fence. But what is physics in these kind of things? Yuka runs along the baseline and slowly moves her left hand. Well then, here's the next one. I won't read that. I take a deep breath as I tightly grasp my racket, which does not help you. Yuka lightly throws the ball into the air, waits for the ball to reach its peak, and then... Oh goodness. She hits the ball with a serve as powerful as a fireball. It's just as fierce as the one earlier. It's headed straight towards me. Well then just get out of the way. If you're standing behind the baseline, then it misses. Alright, I'll return it with this. Oh, well, okay. I won't write these down, I'll just select things. Just like that, I hit a cross-court return. But Yuka ferociously dashes toward the net. Crap, a serve and a volley. By the time I realize that Yuka's splendid volley is settled in the right corner of the court.
岡さん
It takes more than that to beat me, Mr. Ekizen. Okay. Now it's 30-15. Who plays tennis to 30? And who the hell is Mr. Ekizen? I'm so mortified that I'm struck speechless. Well then, at this rate I'll settle it in one blow. Yuka enters her next serve pose without skipping a beat. Next is the Northern Wind Whirl... Oh my goodness. Yes, kamikaze means flying wind, so that's at least That makes sense. But oddly, the fan translators did not translate the word. They just kind of transliterated it. Sheesh, just shut up and serve. I'm not gonna read that. The ball, spinning as fast as a tornado, lands right near the edge of the service line and bounces back up. Okay, I forgot which line is the service line. I presume it's the one, like, between the no man's land and the serve boxes. My body moves toward the descending ball. My next turn will be another cross court because they expect you to choose the opposite. Just like that, I hit a cross court return. Oh crap. I completely... Okay. The ball slowly flies straight towards Yuka. I've been waiting for this. There. With all her strength, Yuka smashes the ball. The ball slams into the court, then bounces up over the fence into the forest. Again, I've never seen this happen. Maybe they just have a low fence. I mean, so if Yuka's here, and her ball clears the net and slams into the court, then, and hopefully it's recording my cursor, then it's just gonna, unless it has a tremendous amount of backspin, it's just gonna bounce like this, and it's gonna hit the fence. With this, it's 40-15, huh? You don't play tennis to 40! Yuka only needs one more point to win. She's owing me, isn't it? Isn't she? She's owning me, isn't she? Okay. I'm gonna have to look this up. Oops. Oh dear, I'm still looking it up. Okay, so you do play to 40. I guess maybe it's table tennis that you play to 21. Okay. Okay, I guess I was wrong. Well, you played a tennis, you played a 40 and you have to win by 4. Yuka gets ready to serve, triumphant in the face of my almost inevitable loss. Here we go. For all ages and all countries, we must name different kinds of liquor. What? Johnny Walker. This is called psyching your opponent out. What Yuka's doing here is something that you should do when you play tennis to help out. Oh, anyway. Yuka pays no attention to me as she suddenly launches an ultra-fast serve. Hey, you can't just change the rules. Even so... No, I'm not going to start trying to sing Tennessee Whiskey on recording. I still play along. Snake. What other kinds of liquor are there? Is snake a liquor? I have to look that up too now. Yes, it is. Okay, I learned something. Beer. Vodka. I guess Yuka really likes snake. Maybe we should have played T-ball instead. Now, apparently there's a way to win this, but I didn't do a save file right before it, so I didn't bother. That's like a stereotypical haughty English noblewoman. Okay, is there a way to change the sound settings? Options. Game. Oh. Sound options. Voice volume is 100. Background music 50. Sound effects volume 50. Just the Japanese voice acting is higher in relation to the background music. Okay. Okay. However, I don't feel insulted. Rather, it's kind of heartwarming. Her silly laugh makes me smile. Before I know it, any frustrations I had were gone. In the end, the first set in the first match unfortunately ended with Yuka's victory. I can't find it. I hear Yuka complaining in the thicket. In one arm, I'm carrying a plastic container with 39 tennis balls inside. There's only one left, but I can't find that last one anywhere. So the implication is that Yuka won a game where every single point she won, she hit it over the fence. And only on the points that she won, of course. She didn't just hit it over the fence without winning. Which, this is physically extremely unrealistic. Roughly half an hour has passed since we started searching. Geez, why'd you have to hit it so far? What the hell are you saying? Weren't you the one who hit all the balls that went over the fence? It's true. Occasionally, Yuka would lose focus and hit the balls in ridiculous directions. Whether it was serving or volleying, her skill was mostly the same as a beginner's, but when she hit it powerfully, it was like she was trying to score a home run. Except, they made a point to specify that exactly 40 balls were hit over the fence. But if you say that she hit the balls in wild directions, you were implying that she did not get those points because they did not hit in the box. But anyway. Geez, I can't decide whether she's really good or really bad. You can't say that. Why not? Only the winner has the privilege to say that. Ugh. She's right. No, she's not. Yuka is technically the winner since she won one more complete set than I did. We continued the match for an hour afterwards, but in reality, until the last ball had flown over the fence, I had lost one more set than Yuka. In the end, she thinks that a loss is a loss. Since Yuka is the winner, she only hears my bluffs as excuses. See, you don't even have a comeback. Because I don't say anything back, Yuka becomes smug. I am a little sore, after all. This is... okay. If you've got something to say, then say it. Though it's probably an excuse. I just won't read that line. Come on, Makoto, don't just stand around there. Hurry up and look for it. In the end, I just kept my mouth shut. Yuka urges me on as she continues to search through the bushes. Ha. As I begin to trudge through the thicket, I let out a weary sigh. Anyway, why does she just call me Makoto without any honorifics? When I thought of this question, earlier today, I just jumped to conclusions and thought I understood it. But when I really start to think about it, it doesn't make sense. After all, we only just met yesterday. No, you didn't only just meet yesterday, and you don't realize it, because this is a mystery game, and everything means something. It's going to come up later, right? I mean, at the beginning of the game, well, earlier in the game, Yuka brings up the topic of a cuckoo clock with two birds, a male and a female dove, implying that she already knows who Makoto is before they came to the camp. And she's anticipating accomplishing something by means of the camp. Which, considering that this is kind of according to some meta-knowledge, a dating sim-like game, you know, fill in the blank. I stop walking and look at her. The sunlight pours in through the trees, allowing the green grass to soak in its beams. I see Yuka beyond. Okay, they're just gonna have to do this part. This will be the last part before I stop recording. I can see Yuka beyond the trees grasping her racket in her left hand as she looks around for the ball. She looks a little bored. How can she urge me on if she's not even serious about this? Her exposed legs are covered in dew. Her curves are so soft and round, her alluring smooth skin as dazzling with pure gloss. Suddenly, a sudden wind blows through the trees and her scent reaches my nose. It's a sweet and pleasant scent like ripened fruit. Yuka, huh? Yuka? All of a sudden, I realize something. Come to think of it, I've just been calling her Yuka without any honorifics either. I'm the same as she is. And now that I think about it, it hasn't been just Yuka. I've been addressing Haruka and Okuhiko without any honorifics either, haven't I? Why's that? Mirror some event in the past. My mind's a little joggled right now from that sweet scent. Anyway, isn't it weirder that I didn't notice how unnatural this was until now? No, I will not suddenly start singing End of the Road on recording. At that moment, Yuka lets out a shout. I found it! Yuka holds the tennis ball high over her head triumphantly. Her innocent smile completely blows away all my irritation. Here, Yuka gently throws the ball. I catch it with my right hand and place it in the plastic container. 40 balls, this is all of them. Hold on, I don't get to thank you or anything? Thanks. That tone, you're not grateful at all, aren't you? This was your fault to begin with. I wouldn't pick either of these options, so I'll just pick a random one. Grateful, you're the one who hit that home run ball in the first place. Even so, I helped you clean up your mess. You're the one who should be thanking me. You're still saying that? Yes. Okay. Write that down. It was your fault to begin with. Like I said before, if your serves hadn't been so pathetic, we wouldn't be in this mess. Pathetic? If they were so bad, then why didn't you try returning them? Because they're way too pathetic. Maybe I should have gone easier on you. You're such a... well... You think you're so high and mighty just because you won the match. I know, let's have a rematch. Alright, I'm up for it. In return, if I win... If you win, what? If I win, then you have to do something I want, no matter what it is. And if I win? Of course, you'll get the same prize if you win. Anything, huh? Let's do this. Interesting, I'll take on that bet. And so we return to the net to face off again. Yuka's insults, instead of hurting my feelings, have gotten me all fired up instead. Actually got you psyched out. It's easy to see why. There's something refreshing about Yuka's blunt and carefree personality. She's the type of girl who I'd say has a candid attitude. Hey, pathetic boy. Hurry up and serve. The girl that's brighter than a summer day seems to fit in well with the spring sunlight. I start to think about this seminar camp isn't so bad after all. And then you lose. After the match ended, Yuka and I talked about what to do next. We didn't have enough strength to play another match, but it was too early to return to the lodge. So in the end, we decided to go to the ocean and meet with Haruka and Okuhiko. When we finished chatting, we took showers in the management office. The shower felt so wonderful and refreshing after being in the sun for so long. I hope you wore your sandals in it. Now we're heading towards the ocean while descending the long hill road. By the way, the results of the match. Well then, I wonder what I should have you do. Is obvious just by looking at Yuka's expression. I would not say either of these things. I would just say something... I eagerly await your request. So, these are both bad answers. But this is probably the better one. Can we just forget about it? So can we just forget about it? Okay. These dialogues probably don't affect anything. Okay. I try to wuss out. Huh? What's with that? Taking back your words is very unmanly, you know. If you're going to be like that, you shouldn't have asked for a mirror match. But I thought Yuka was the one who suggested the bet. Well, it's true that I did accept it. You can't take back your promise. Yeah. I'll make you do the craziest thing I can think of. The craziest thing she can think of. I have a bad feeling about this. Well, I'll think about it. Huh? You can't do that. Tell me now. This will come up at the end of the game. I don't actually know that. I haven't seen the end of the game. It's just me guessing. I'm making guesses. But I can't think of anything good. Besides, I never said how long this promise was valid for, did I? Well, that's true. It might be tomorrow, or the day after, maybe even in 10 years. Foreshadowing. Be sure to remember it 10 years from now. Does this mean that we've met Yuka 10 years ago? I mean, that's what I would take from this. That's impossible. Yuka just smiles. Or did we make a bet with Yuka that she can do whatever she wants if she beat us in tennis 10 years ago? Anyway, we come out of the forest road and arrive at the coastline. So this guy's 20, so we would have been 10 at the time, so very young. A bit to the west is a small cove surrounded by a rock wall. To the east is a long, winding beach with white sand. The small cove is called Princess Beach, while the wide beach is called Moon Beach. We first tried going to Princess Beach. It made the most sense to check there first since it was closer. Just then, what are you doing in a place like this? We suddenly crossed paths with them. It seems they were just on their way back to the lodge. Yu explains that we've already come down this far, so in the end, the four of us decide to leave for the shopping district. While considering how deserted that shopping district is, leave for might not be the best way to put it. As we talk, Haruka averts her eyes, looking rather bored. She told us she wanted to see the ocean, yet she doesn't seem very satisfied. What did she do there? Okay, so it'll come up later in the game that Yuka must have done... Not Yuka. The name immediately slipped my mind. Gee. Did something there that will set something up. But anyway, I listened to Yuka and Okuhiko's conversation while captivated by Haruka's actions. So she set something up down there. Okay. Her soft hair sways in the sea breeze. So by we, well, backlog. Okay. There's a suppressed line of dialogue that I missed that you can't see in the backlog. That's interesting. The moment we arrive at the top of the bank, we are rewarded with a grand scenery that stretches out as far as the eye can see. The crimson-colored sky starts fading into even darker colors. We're walking by a long crescent-shaped beach, its sands as smooth as velvet. There's nobody here except for us. The only sound is the soothing noise of waves crashing against the shore. The sea breeze gently brushes past my nose. It carries a sweet smell that is rather captivating. Sea breeze does not smell like anything but salt. Well, it depends on how inland you are. I get a sea breeze roughly 20 miles inland. It does not have a smell. If you go closer to the coast, it smells like salt. So is this a moon beach? I can't quite hide the awe in my words. Well, didn't I tell you that this was a good idea? Yuka says this with pride. That's right, on our way to the shopping district, Yuka suggests that we climb the bank on the east side of the road to see the site. Okay, I'm just gonna pick yeah, you were right, because this doesn't matter at all. Yeah, you were right. I say this sincerely. You're unlikely to see such a beautiful sunset in the city. I haven't felt this moved by such a breathtaking scenery in a long time. Usually I misread things, but that's actually a awkward phrasing. I guess it's technically correct, you can word it like that, but it's uncommon. The distance from the top of the embankment to the sandy bottom is about 2/3 of my height. Despite the height, Yuka easily gets down onto the beach. Okuhiko and I go after her. Then, at that moment, sound effects. I hear a loud thud from behind me, causing me to turn around. On the sandy beach is Haruka, who has hit the ground. It seems that she messed up her landing and fell. She looks confused. She might not understand what just happened. I walk over to Haruka's side, grab her hand, and then help her up. Are you alright? As if nothing had happened, she gives me a curt nod in reply. However, it's clear that Haruka is definitely embarrassed. She's blushing. Ellipses. Before I know it, I've turned around. I notice that Haruka's the only person still loitering around at the top of the bank. Huh? Wait, didn't I just help her up? So then, why is she still there? I break into a sweat. My head is racked with confusion from my inability to comprehend the situation. While this is happening, Haruka slowly doubles over. She bends her knees and grips the edge of the embankment. Judging from her stance, I already know what's going to happen next. Wait, before I can warn her, she's already in midair. And then Haruka loses her balance and falls flat onto the beach. A cloud of dust soundlessly stirs up into the empty sky. This scene definitely happened a few seconds ago. Haruka looks confused. I walk over to her side, grab her hand, and help her up. Are you alright? I can't hide my shock. Although Haruka gives a short nod, it's clear she's just trying to cover up her own embarrassment. I notice that she's blushing. As if trying to cover up her trembling, she quickly gets to her feet and moves past me. For a little while, I stand frozen in place, dumbfounded. Was that deja vu? No, that's the phenomenon where after an event occurs, you're under the delusion you've experienced that event before. But it definitely wasn't like that. I saw Haruka fall before she actually did. I saw myself helping her up before it actually happened too. Just what the hell was that? So much. I quickly look up and see the red western skies are burning dark red. The waves crash against the shore, bringing with them the echoes of the roaring ocean. Okay, all members gather at Orange Beach. Wow, to think there'd be a cafe here. Yuka says this on her way to the shopping district as we walk on a paved road alongside the coastline. I didn't notice it until she said it, but there's indeed a lone cafe erected by the road. It's a 2-story building made of wood with a blue triangular roof and whitewashed walls. The walls are given a rosy hue by the setting sun gently shining on it. It's got pretty good taste. Okuhiro says this. He's right, thanks to the fact it's facing the water and that you can hear the pleasant sound of the tiny waves washing up on the shore. It's reminiscent of an Italian restaurant overlooking the Adriatic Sea. The sign above the entrance reads Luna Beach in big letters. Luna Beach, huh? The front door has a plate with the word open written on it. Typo, they doubled the has. After a little while, we stop walking as we take in the sight of the cafe, interweaving itself with the late afternoon sky. Huh? Could you be? Huh? I search for the owner of that voice. It sounds familiar. It came from the back of the cafe. I see a girl standing there with a broom in her hand. She's staring right at us. Huh? This girl is... The girl places the broom against the wall and runs over to us. You're the people who ordered the seafood pizza, right? She's the delivery girl who gave us the pizza for lunch. Huh? Right, thank you for doing that. As Okuhiko finally recognizes her, a crooked grin slowly emerges on his face. He must feel awkward right now, considering how he lied about his identity earlier. Huh? What's this? You two know her? Oh, I see. Yuka and Haruka didn't meet the girl back then. Remember the pizza we ate for lunch? She's the one who delivered it. Okay. Yuka gives a small nod of understanding. Eh, Thank you very much for your continued patronage. The girl bows her head. I see, so she works at the shop. Huh? Now that I think about it, Haruka's... Haruka? Haruka is giving the girl a hard stare. She looks a bit pale. Okay, so Haruka knows the girl. Haruka? When I call her name, Haruka's glance turns toward me. What? Her eyes are pleading to me to do something, but I don't know what. Hey, since we're just standing here talking, why don't we take a little rest here? Yuka throws her proposition out before I can speak. Everybody's attention immediately turned towards her. You're right. I'm a little tired from all that walking. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, do it. This gives Yuka's idea 2 votes of approval. Makoto, what about you? Huh? Me? Sure, I don't mind. I'm too worried about Haruka right now to really care much. Haruka, are you also okay with this? Yuka asks Haruka last. Naturally, she thinks she'll agree. I'll pass, I'll go back. Huh, why? Yuka is bewildered by that unexpected reply. What's wrong, Haruka-chan? Are you not feeling well? Haruka shakes her head. But Haruka didn't see the delivery girl, though. Huh. Until now. So I can't pull that up. Then why? If that's the case, then just stay. I don't have a reason. You can't go off on your own. Come on, it's a group activity. Or if you don't have a reason. Haruka-chan must also be exhausted. I bet you'll feel a lot better if you rest here for a bit. Yeah, come on, Haruka. Alright, so Haruka has some issue with the delivery girl or this facility or this type of facility, and she's keeping it a secret. Okay. That's... Finally Haruka nods, but it seems she's reluctant, and you can, question whether that's related to the cigarette or not. She's just tired, that might be it. She did this earlier at tennis, and I messed up. She did this earlier at tennis, and she was alone even at the lodge. The girl's inexperienced with interacting with people, so this camp must be a tiring experience. The way Haruka glares at the delivery girl irks me a bit, but I think it's probably because of her aforementioned exhaustion, to which me as the player would guess you are probably wrong. So how does everyone agree? So does everyone agree? Yeah, it looks that way. The girl replies to my answer with a satisfied smile. Well then, time to give you 4 a tour of Luna Beach. The girl guides us to the Luna Beach entrance. Oni-chan, we have customers. Huh? Oni-chan? What's this? It's rare for Kumuri to attract customers. Or Kurumi. Spelled with a U. Kurumi. The woman behind the counter gives us a welcoming smile. She looks like she's in her early 20s. Her short hair and apron suit her well. She gives me the impression of having a rather motherly aura. I mean, it is true that people think these kind of things, but it's rare that they end up in the text internal dialogue. Very naked-minded James Joyce narration. Anyway, you said Oni-chan, so does that mean you are sisters? Yep, Oni-chan and Kurumi are true blood-related sisters. The girl called Kurumi sticks out her chest and giggles. I don't know if that's really something to be proud about. Huh? Haruka? So, Haruka knows Oni, or is alarmed by how they're sisters. Interesting. Is it my imagination? I thought I saw Haruka give the woman behind the counter a terribly frustrated look. Haruka is silently staring out the window at the scenery. Her face is expressionless. She's like a soulless doll. So it really was just my imagination after all. Then if your sister is this shop's manager, does that mean you two own this? That's not it. It's just, I'm working here part-time and Kurumi is working as my assistant. The woman behind the counter answers Yuka's question before she finishes. Huh?
申し遅れました。
I'm sorry.
私、この
Where are your manners? I'm Izumi. Where are my manners? I'm Izumi Morino, a part-time worker for the shop.
くるみ。
This is Karumi. She's my little sister, and she sometimes helps me with the shop. Come on, Karumi, go ahead and properly say hello. The woman named Izumi urges the girl to introduce herself. I'm Karumi Morino. Right now, since Karumi's on school break, she came here to have fun with Oni-chan. When the shop gets busy, Karumi helps out with various things. Today we had a party of tourists come in for lunch. Without Karumi, we would really have had a lot of trouble with them. Karumi is singing her own praises. Karumi-chan, you're amazing. Yuka pats Karumi's head and rustles through her hair. Yep, after all, Karumi's all grown up. She says that, yet she looks quite the opposite as she enjoys having her head petted. Spoil a child too much and she'll grow up spoiled. Well, that's my outside opinion. Gee. Izumi Morino-san and Karumi Morino. The Morino sisters, huh? The surname Morino triggers something within me. Where have I learned it before? Where have I heard it before? Is it just my imagination? So, I guess they've been here 10 years ago at the same spot and same people. I mean, I have some, I know what happens in some other Uchikoshi games. And I can't really discuss that without spoiling other games. But that gives me context that tends to lead me to make assumptions about the plot of the games I don't know the plot of. And I can't really say because I don't want to, you know why I can't say. So this makes me think of something, but I'm not going to say what it is. Anyway. Before long, Izumi-san explains to us that the real shop manager is absent because he's in Italy shopping for tableware. So for now, Izumi is managing it all by herself. The owner apparently often leaves the store unsupervised for trips like this. I guess you could say I'm just a manager's substitute. Izumi-san says this with a sweet smile. That gentle grin and her older woman charm causes my heart to start pounding. I try to distract myself by surveying the shop. The interior and exterior look like they were inspired by an Italian restaurant. The seats by the counter and tables, as well as the fixtures placed here and there, go well with the store's atmosphere. Against the wall is an old-fashioned jukebox where an old jazz hit from several decades ago is playing. So this is supposed to take place in 2019? Giant steps? Donald Lee? In the mood? The store's interior is rather relaxing. From the window facing the sea, you can see the coast of Moon Beach, giving the narrow shop's interior a sense of depth and openness. There's a door in the back which seems to lead to an open terrace outside. However, the restaurant's counter gives me the impression that the place could easily be mistaken for a bar. When it's nighttime, the shop is both a restaurant and a bar. Azumi-san explains this when she notices me observing the shop's layout. Whoa, am I that easy to read? Yes, this game is very easy to read, thank you. Is that so? Wow. I give a vague nod, averting my eyes. I fear that if I look into Izumi-san's eyes right now, she'll read my mind. This time I decide to face Karumi. By the way, Karumi-chan, what grade are you in right now? When I look over, I see Okuhiko talking to Karumi. Karumi's a third year. I see, a third year in middle school, huh? You'll be taking your high school entrance exams soon. That'll be tough. You're wrong, Karumi's not in middle school. She's a third year in high school. My face twists in shock. Okuhiko is also gaping in surprise. When she delivered the pizza, we were both under the impression that she was in middle school. Harumi is 17 years old after all. Her cheeks puff out in protest. Does she have some sort of complex about her childish appearance? Though she is rather baby-faced. Now what about all of you? From the looks of it, you're all college students, right? Izumi-san asks us this as she observes with this all with a smile.
そうですね。
You're right.
私たちも
We should introduce ourselves. Yuka clears her throat with a small cough before promptly doing so. I can't really do that. Yeah, nope. She tells her how we'll be juniors in college, and that we're all members of the same seminar. That we're currently staying at a nearby lodge for a seminar camp. She explains everything. Afterward, the entire plot from the beginning until now. Afterwards, we both give her our names.
ゆうか
Yuka-chan and Makoto-chan.
ちゃん。よし。
Huh, alright, I'll remember
みんな
that.
覚えたよ。
Karumi will remember it too.
で、彼女。
And this girl is... Popit. Hey, Haruka! Haruka silently continues to stare at the scenery out the window.
あ、
She's
彼女
Haruka
と同じ班のメンバーで
Hiyuki, another member of our group.
私たちよりも
She's a year younger than us. Whoops. She's a year younger than us, but she skipped a grade and she's in our grade. Remember, Haruka? Since when do college students refer to anything as a grade?
ちょっと
Well, she may seem like she's extremely shy, especially around strangers, but even though she doesn't look like she's very social, she's a nice person deep down. Of course, you could interpret this as Yuka just trying to kind of facilitate something, but you could also interpret it as Yuka knows. Why does the name drop out of my head? Whatever. Knows the other girl from some past event. Yuka is desperately trying to support Haruka. However, the girl herself shows no sign of entertaining Yuka's whims. Yeah, Haruka, for some reason, my brain can't store that name. Just can't.
そうね。
Yes, you're right, I understand. Izumi-san smiles, undaunted by Haruka's behavior. It's hard to tell if she really does.
はるかさんだね。よろしく
So you're Haruka-san. Nice to meet you. Karumi holds out her hand, awaiting a handshake from Haruka. Who glances at Karumi but turns back towards the window again.
はるか
Haruka! Despite Yuka's urgings, Haruka doesn't even twitch. Karumi uneasily pulls back her outstretched hand and scratches her head. Despite Haruka's rudeness, a gentle smile arises on Izumi-san's face as she looks toward her. The atmosphere is quiet. Nice effect. Well, the atmosphere is quite the awkward one. Great. So the music suddenly going quiet caused my brain to interpret that quite as a quiet. Well then, I am... Okuhiko loudly draws the attention to himself in an attempt to wipe out the heavy atmosphere. The sudden burst causes all of us, except for Haruka, to turn their attention towards him. Just because he feels left out doesn't mean he has to be an attention whore about it. Okay. The always invigorating youth, the gallant man with a tender heart, the warrior of justice sent by God himself for the sake of protecting the earth. His name is Okuhiko Aida, and with that, he messed up. Oops! Harumi and Izumi-san tilt their heads in confusion and stare at Okuhiko, who splurts this out. He was so impatient to talk that he had just spontaneously shouted this nonsense. After hearing such a ridiculous introduction, Izumi-san is desperately trying to keep herself from laughing. However, for some reason, Okuhiko's words have left Karumi dumbfounded, because Karumi thought that he was someone else.
飯田
Did you say Aida? Yep, I'm taken aback by Karumi's words. When you accepted the pizza, you introduced yourself as Asakura. Okuhiko seems to have realized this too, as his body stiffens. I'm shocked, speechless. But earlier you said it was Asakura. Okuhiko looks at me. I turn my head away to ignore him. It was his plan. Why should I have to help him? At that moment, the door is violently thrown open. We all turn around in surprise. And we'll pick that one up in the next recording. Um, yeah, at the beginning of the previous recording, I picked on this game for not well utilizing its medium. For example, at the very beginning, a lot of words are spent describing the details of the room that the main character sleeps in, despite the fact that we saw a picture of that room showing all those details. The whole point, one of the points of a visual novel is because you can show background scenery and sprites, you don't have to describe as much of the setting in the words as you would in a paper novel. And yet, the way it's written, you could take all of the text in the game, paste it into a paper novel, and it would still make sense as a paper novel, which is somewhat of a waste of words. Now, 999 also does this, and it's written in third person as opposed to first person. When Spike Chunsoft ported 999 to Steam, they created a new gameplay mode called Adventure Mode, which cut out almost all of the third-person narration, only leaving it in when it was necessary for the plot to make sense. And this made the game go by much faster, and it works very well because that third-person narration was not necessary at all to make this dialogue, scenes, and plot make sense. But I thought that 999 was unique in that way, and this gives me context for 999 that, well, there was a precedent for that kind of verboseness in earlier works. Okay, well, I'll just stop here and pick this up probably next week. Oh, I gotta save on recording. I don't know why you wouldn't save on recording. Okay.